Hello, hello, hello. Good to see everybody in here. God bless. Much love. Hey, Linda, you number one tonight, girl. Hello, hello, hello to you. The mighty jungle. Girl, you are number two. Good evening, PG. In the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. Girl, you are out to get that song stuck in my head. Little man would love that. He'd love that. He really would. West Virginia butterfly. All right, girlfriend.
Hey,
Hello, everyone. Right there, number three tonight. And Karen, you are number four. All right. God bless. Good to see everybody. Let me see who else is in this chat tonight. Hey, Teddy, how you doing? Hey, Prayer Guard. Hey, hey, hey. And Deputy Sheriff, there you are. God bless. Much love, Deputy Sheriff. Good to see you. Hey, Holler Boo. How you doing? Good to see you. Lisa. Let's see who else is in here. Chocolate covered pickle. How you doing? Good to see you. Blessings, Mama PG. Much love. Hey, girl, blessings to you and to yours. God bless you. And let's see who else is in here. I'm going down through here. Hey, Pamela Sue. How you doing, sweetie? Chilipippa. How you doing? There's Linda. Second to none. Good to see everybody. Hey, Brat. I see you, girlfriend. Hey, Kaylee. Oh, that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I appreciate that. Chocolate covered pickles. I really do. Let's see. Hey, Crystal. There you are. Oh yeah, her husband a hospital. Hey, Italian Cookie, how you doing? After a couple of nights ago, uh, everyone, because I was disappointed. Everyone was. It doesn't matter. It's only 38 pages. It haven't been shown. Candace. Uh, yeah, right. Candace shouldn't have. It shouldn't have. That's true. That's true. Candace put that. But I don't believe. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
I don't either.
No, absolutely not.
Mm-mm.
Hey, Brenda Love says hello. God bless PG. I love to all. Good love to you, girl. Good to see you. Oh, that is beautiful, Crystal. That is beautiful. Well, hey, Auntie Sherry, how you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. Hey, PG's little girl in disguise, Summer's angel. Yeah, she's a sweetheart. I love her. All right, I'm at the bottom. Thank goodness. You know, you cannot um talk about Summer's case without talking about Don and Candace. Don and Candace are number one suspects in their own daughter's disappearance. Don and Candace are the key to finding Summer. They are the main key to finding Summer. In my opinion, they know exactly where their daughter is. And so they're the main key in all of this. I do think other people, were involved. And I do think other people also know where Summer is. I really truly believe that law enforcement should have took the time to check Morrison Cemetery, Timothy Morrison's grave site, because, and Ronnie Lawson said, everyone up there's a suspect. Everyone up there is a suspect. Now, Andy Bernard and Jody Sue would have been suspects. And right out of Andy's mouth, he says, he believes she's in Timothy Morrison's grave because it was an open grave at that time. And he said, that he always heard the best place to hide someone would be in an open grave. And with this comment being, put out by Andy, and not only that, but if we remember right, when Don and Candace basically had a little visual, for summer, last year, right? Last year they had it early. They had a, they called it some type of meaning that she's already gone, visual. And they went to the water, to the, down to the horse pond, and they put flowers. Why? Why would they go there to put flowers? And then they went up to Morrison Cemetery, put two flowers on Timothy Morrison's grave. Why would they put flowers on Timothy Morrison's grave? They don't even know the man. They don't even know this man. But there was two flowers there. They put lights all around Summer swing set. Now, if you remember, when we went up there to the cemetery, right? When we went up to the cemetery on, on Summer's, around Summer's, June 15th, 2021, when she disappeared, when we went up there last year, and, at around the time that, that she would have disappeared, well, who was and went up to Morrison Cemetery. That's where the two flowers were. We took pictures. The flowers were on Timothy Morrison's grave. If you remember right, Chad Arnold, which, knows the grave diggers, and they also pay him to dig graves, where it is, he helps, his in-laws dig graves, because that's who the grave diggers are, the Morlocks, and the Morlocks are related to Chad Arnold's wife, which is Marlena Cropper's, sister. So the thing is that's who Candace had met up with down at Fred Hill's house, was Chad Arnold. And is
there a Barbara anywhere in this, or a Barbara?
Not that I know of. There's Laura. But they went down to Fred Hill's house, met up with Chad. Chad comes out of the holler onto Ben Hill Road, out of Ben Hill onto Beach Creek, along with Candace, and they disappear somewhere. Well, across the street, Timothy Morrison's, grave site, it was, an open grave over there, because Timothy passed away on the 11th, and the arrangements got made, and they were going to put him down on the 18th. He would have been put down on the 18th. They always, come in and they, dig the grave a few days early, so that, in case they run into, rocks or hard ground, or, and they have to measure out to make sure they're not, invading on someone else's space up there, getting too close, or too, close to one side or another of someone else's, plot. So there's a lot to doing this, and they usually do it early. They do that early, and because they want to get ready to set the vault, and then the coffin goes down in, and then, they cover everything up once they get it all put together. So with that being said, I think Andy Bernard, and who did Chad Arnold call? Who did Chad Arnold call after he stalked last year, after he stalked us up at the cemetery? Who did he call? He called Andy Bernard. And Andy Bernard ran right in here and said, PG, your little friend was seen walking around, out in the cemetery looking for Timothy's grave. So they're all connected. Why are they watching that gravesite if something isn't there? If nothing's there that they don't want found, why would they be, stalking people up over there?
I don't have a lot of faith in TBI. I really don't.
I just think that, when a number one suspect, as Ronnie Lawson calls them, up there, especially the people right inside the road that know everything and capable of committing a crime, because they already have, prior problems with the law. So with that being said, they're number ones. And if it's coming out of the mouth that, I believe that that's where, this child has been put, law enforcement, I think, is obligated to follow every lead, and they are obligated to, go over there and do whatever it takes to find out if that indeed is where the missing child is, right? That's their job. Why they're not doing it, I don't know. I have no idea. But, it sounds to me like either they, they're worried about wasting, taxpayers' money, or maybe they just ain't interested in finding this little girl. I don't know what my thing is with Summers' case is I think law enforcement dropped the ball on Summers' case really bad at the beginning. I think they went up there and totally wrecked the crime scene. I'm pretty sure, if there was any evidence, they stomped all over it, and thinking she wandered off, and during all of that procedure, they messed up everything that could have been vital to solving the case. And then they go from there, right? They go from there, and they just kind of isolated. They handpicked the search party, which is weird because when Carly Trent went missing, they they asked for all the community to come out. They, all law enforcement check-in. It was like everybody, somebody come and help, right? And they were really interested, and they knew who she was with. They knew who Carly Trent was with and who they were looking for. And, but they engaged everybody who wanted to, join up and search and do this. But the problem is, with Summers' case, they didn't, they didn't let everybody do that. And I don't understand that part of it. They had like I said, a little handpicked team, and they went up there and they stayed isolated to the, just the property, more or less, just the property right there. They wasn't looking, they wasn't spreading out over the general area. If a child wanders off, you want to look, all over the area, not just isolate yourself right there upon the property. I thought that was pretty weird as well. There was a few things, that they definitely did not believe that she was abducted because they didn't even put out an Amber Alert. They didn't put out an Amber Alert until they were pressured to do so by, the public. And that's when they done it. So they were, they were like 99.9% sure that this ain't no abduction because of it being, such an isolated area like that, that doesn't get no traffic up in there other than the people who, the people who actually live in there. And there hasn't ever been any type of crimes before like this. So, and you wouldn't even know there was a house up there unless you've been up there. So, it's kind of strange. It's kind of strange how her case, was handled so much different than Carly Trent's case was. Is weird that, it's almost as if they wasn't working overly. And then, another thing that bothered me was they kind of knocked off. They kind of knocked off this little girl's, the first day. I'm talking about June 15th, 2021. After they got the call, they got up there around, they got the call at 6:30. I hear law enforcement was in there before 7 o'clock. They were there within 15, 20 minutes, which was, almost like they were sitting somewhere waiting to go. And I'm not saying that's the case. I'm saying that, it's just odd that, these people say it takes 30, 45 minutes for law enforcement to show up in that holler. But they're there, at this particular June 15, 2021, they're there within, 15, 20 minutes. I found that to be weird too. And also, they, when they started the search, they knocked it off at like 1 o'clock in the morning saying, hey, we're just going, if they really believed, if law enforcement really believed she wandered off, why would they all go home and go to bed and wait till the next morning to come back out there? I mean, you have, helicopters, and you have equipment that can light, that terrain up like it's daytime. They can shine down overhead lights that makes it look better than daytime inside of there. They're able to see everything. Why would they take the risk of leaving a child out in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of animals and everything overnight instead of, staying on it? And if they really believe she was out there, why did they not stay on it and try to save her? If they believe she was there, why didn't they people continue to go till morning? That's what I'm saying. They should have been searchers, out in that wooded area all night, seeing if they could find this little girl. They shouldn't have even been coming out of there until the morning. Right? That's what I think. That's just my opinion. But they all quit as if she wasn't in there, and they all went home. They all went to bed. They got up the next morning and got breakfast. They got breakfast before they came in there to team up and start to search again. I just find that really strange, that law enforcement would do that with a 5-year-old innocent child that, was in that type of dangerous, that kind of dangerous atmosphere of a big terrain area. That's what they say they were believing. That's what they told us. That they would just walk out and leave the child, kind of to the wolves, right? To the wolves. And I can't believe that, I can't believe that I couldn't have went home and left a child out there. If I truly believed the child was out there, I could not have went home and went to sleep. I couldn't have went home. I think that you got, God help us, man. Because I'm going to tell you something. I just couldn't have. If I was a sheriff, in a, in a place like that, I would have said, nobody's going home. We are going to look. We're going to light this place up, and we're going to look until, until the crack of dawn. And then we're going to change shifts, and we're going to continue to look all day. And we're going to continue to look all night again for this child, because this child needs to be found. And if I really believed that she was out there somewhere, I wouldn't have gave up. I wouldn't have gave up. I'd have been out there 24/7, So that tells me, that I don't believe they thought she was even out there. To be, to shut it down, go home. I think that they was using her being out there as an excuse to be on that property, as an excuse to be, surveillancing Don and Candace and Grandis. I think they were, using that as an excuse to be up there trying to get, as much answers as they could, because they felt that this little girl was not wandered off, and they felt that she was not abducted. And I think that, they felt it was foul play, and they were using all that to, to get the answers. And, but I think they dropped the ball, because nobody was going to give them the answers. The answers was in the surroundings. The answers was in, forensics, fingerprints, aluminol, cadaver dogs, search dogs. The evidence that they needed to be gotten in a different way, because these people, ain't going to tell on themselves. They wouldn't have done it if they wanted to tell on themselves, right? I mean, you're not going to try to cover something up if you was just going to end up telling on yourself anyway. Why the hell would you do that? Why put the lead back on the cookie jar if you wanted someone to know your hand's been in it? You just left it, the lead off of it, right? You wouldn't have took the time to put the lead back on and everything, and brush the crumbs off the counter, and do what it takes to make the cookie jar look like nobody got into it, so that so your mom and dad, wouldn't give you time out for doing what you ain't supposed to do, right? You're not supposed to eat sweets before dinner, and but a lot of kids do. They put their hand in the cookie jar, and then they cover it up, because why? They don't want the parents to know, and they sure ain't going to tell on themselves. And usually if the parents find out, it's because there's crumbs around the kid's mouth, or there's crumbs on the counter, or the lead was left off the cookie jar, right? There was a mistake. You got to look for the mistakes, because the kid ain't going to just voluntarily tell you because it don't want to get in trouble. And that's what law enforcement, failed to do. And I think that's where they lost all the evidence, because they were stomping on it. I mean, remember when they found one of the footprints, they said that there was an adult footprint with the child's footprint. And then they said they didn't know if that adult footprint was a searcher's footprint or someone else's footprint that was with, accompanying the child, was with the child. But they found two, and now they don't know if it's a searcher's footprint and the child was alone, or if it was a adult footprint who was with the child. This is the kind of evidence that, they were losing by, not doing what should have been done to begin with. I think that, and they also lost, by not picking Hunter up that night and taking him in for interrogation, And by not picking up Candace and Dawn and Grandis and taking them in for interrogation and not taking the other children in for questioning, you don't take children in for interrogation. You just take them in to ask questions. You bring in a psychologist and, and ask them, where was your sister? Did you see her? How did it all? What? How did it all go down for you? And and you get the answers out of the children. They done none of that. They done absolutely none of that. They should have took search dogs and cadaver dogs to Allison's house, because they dropped Hunter off there at after the swimming hole. And Ronnie Lawson said, what took 4.5 hours for you to call law enforcement? So Ronnie Lawson suspected that Summer had been passed away on those milk jugs when he saw the video. Now, the last place they stopped was Allison's house. They should have took search dogs and cadaver dogs in Allison's house that very evening. There should have been people over at Allison's house going through there at the same time there was people at Candace and Donald's house going through their home. The hill should have been roped off. Everybody should have been removed. The family should have been taken off the hill and put up into a hotel room, after they was taken into law enforcement and interrogated and talked to and finding, and getting all these answers. I think the case would have been solved if they'd have just handled it right. That's my opinion. But it wasn't handled right, and that's why we're sitting here today, right? 5 years later. As of June 15th, 2026, 5 consecutive years. Right? 5 consecutive years. I don't understand it, What do you think, West Virginia Butterfly?
Well, Candace told me that, excuse me, the scent that the dogs hit on going down the trail was where they drug clothes down. And she said it worked perfect. Then I got to thinking, like, this one footprint.
She said that Candace told you that the trail they went down, that they drug Summer's clothes down that way.
Yes.
It worked, and it worked perfect.
And it worked. And she said that is the very best way to trick them. And so then it got me thinking about the footprint. How easy would it be for her to run over there, take Don's shoe and one of Summer's little shoes, put the print there herself? Because there was only one set. There was none coming to or one coming from.
Well, I kind of believed that the footprints came from the night before, because the boys were riding their dirt. Candace, Donald, Grandis, Jody Sue, Andy, and their kids, and the Wells kids were all gathered up because of Mr. Dobbs. They were all gathered up at the bottom of the property until dark. They was down there all evening until dark. Once Dobbs left, Candace and Don and Grandis, the kids, went down to the bottom property to meet up with Jody Sue and Andy and their kids. And the kids were riding dirt bikes. And they let Summer, like the oldest boy will let Summer on the back of the bike, or the middle boy would let Summer on the back of the bike. And what I was thinking is possibly when they was riding and they went to turn the bike around to make a turn, the bike leans and sometimes your foot will go onto the ground, right? and those boys actually wore man-sized shoes. Candace got, she, like, summer shoes were always way too big. The boys' shoes were always way too big. For some reason, Candace didn't buy. She got their clothes and stuff at yard sales and, and thrift stores and stuff like that. And she, and if she liked them, if she didn't care if they was too big or not, she would have the kids wearing them. So when they said an adult size footprint, it could have been one of the boys' shoes because, that's just, she always got shoes too big for these kids. And that would make perfect sense, that the two footprints would have been there right together, because if they almost lost their balance, to turn the bike around, they would have, the boy's foot would have went down onto the ground and to stop the bike from, falling over. And Summer probably would have, her foot would have came down on the ground too. And that would have, been exactly why both feet print was there at, only one footprint because they was on the dirt bike, and, and one belonging to a bigger foot than the other. That made perfect sense. I mean, that's the only logical reason I could think. Because I mean, it's like a dirt bike ain't no different really than, a regular bicycle. And I think even if people hasn't rode a dirt bike, you've rode a bicycle. Every child gets a bicycle. They learn how to ride a regular bike. And there's sometimes when you go to turn around, your one foot, your bike kind of tips and your one foot goes down and touches the ground to keep it from, sliding out or falling over.
That happened to me on my motorcycle.
Yeah. And if there's somebody on the back of your bike, they're going to put their foot on the ground too, because they're going to be scared. They don't want to slide off, and hit the ground either. So you're going to have two footprints there, not one. It would just be a logical explanation, right?
I don't know. I mean, like certain people.
Here's the thing. If someone was carrying, if an adult person was carrying a child, and even if they went to sit the child down and then picked it back up, like one foot of the child's went on the ground, they'd still be two footprints of the adult. Now, you didn't have two footprints of an adult, one of a child. You only had one footprint of with like an adult shoe, and you only have one footprint of a child. So that tells me they had to have been on like a dirt bike or on,
Yeah, I'm not satisfied with that.
They're not hopping on one foot. I mean, they ain't hopping on one foot. So, and that would have told me, hey, these prints are from the boys riding this little girl on their dirt bike.
Well, they would have surely seen the dirt bike tire marks then. They would have to see them.
Not always. Not always. I mean, not if the dirt bike would have been, if the dirt bike would have been on, on grass, or if it would have been, if the wheels would have been on grass, or the wheels would have been on, solid dry dirt instead of wet dirt, where their foot went down. No, that's not really, and that,
yeah.
that no, you wouldn't, because uh, like if you're riding your bike, for instance, and you tip like that, and you stick your foot down, your foot sinks into the mud, but your bike don't. You lift your bike back up and you ride on away, and your bike didn't sink in the mud. Your foot did because of your weight coming down on it. You know,
Yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen that before. So not necessarily. And when Candace was asked about that, that particular trail that, Don and Candace tried to say that, and I tell you, I don't even think that, I don't believe, I really don't believe that the dogs went down no dog trail.
Yeah, right. I know.
Because like when Candace was asked by Chris, Chris said, is that over there? Is that where the dog trail is? She said, I don't know anything about a dog trail. She said, but the boys ride their bikes down there and then they come back up the driveway. But I don't know about that being a dog trail. That's what she said. Like Don's a liar. There was, there ain't no dog trail over there.
Well, remember
And
Don said he didn't even know they had one.
and exactly. And then, and then Candace already had told Chris that the boys ride their dirt bikes down there, the side of that hill and around and up the driveway. And Ronnie Lawson said, if I don't say it, don't believe it. If it doesn't come exactly from me, don't listen to it. And he said that a lot of times you will lose scent. The search dogs will lose scent from gravel to pavement. Well, there ain't no gravel to pavement down the dog trail, but there is gravel to pavement down the driveway. So I think that's where, the dogs came out. I think they came down the driveway and into the road. And I also believe that because Jody Sue said that, Jody Sue said the dogs came down the driveway out into the road and stopped at her feet. That's one of the tales I heard as well. Now, is it true or not? I don't know. But I do believe that it, with what Ronnie Lawson said, because he said gravel to pavement, which would be the driveway. And Jody Sue said driveway out to the middle of the road, stopped at my feet. So you got two people saying driveway. One's law enforcement, which I'm going to believe. And then you have Don and Candace, who haven't done nothing but play games and lied since the beginning of Summer's disappearance, making up stuff. They're the only ones talking about some dog trail, and Don even had the news out there, I think, misleading them. And him and Candace really get big laughs out of misleading people and putting people through, a lot of stuff. It just gives them some kind of charge, some kind of, they get some type of, unnatural, charge out of misleading people and doing evil stuff. And, it's like, it just, gets their adrenaline going in a way that they like it. And it's sickening. It's absolutely sickening that, that people can be, like they're definitely mentally disturbed on some, some type of, there's some type of issues going on there that isn't normal to get, to actually like getting that type of, adrenaline feeling by misleading people. You know, some people, you always hear some people, they live for the thrill. They love to do, dangerous things, um, because they get like a charge out of it. Um, you know, I don't think that's normal. It's not normal, um, to want, to want to feel fear. It's not normal to want to feel fear. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's something ain't right there.
And too scary. Talking about West Virginia welfare, and then you go on and say, "I'm just repeating what I heard." But honey,
Well,
let me tell you, I own welfare. I run welfare. I never ever used welfare. I don't need welfare, and I guarantee I could buy most of you out. So you really don't know who you're talking to. I've never been on welfare.
where's Aunt Sherry? I'm looking for her right now.
West Virginia welfare, and it's just hearsay. Jesus Christ. If you people only knew who I was, you'd feel stupid. And yes, I got the meat and taters. Don't think I don't. Just because
Wait a
hasn't
minute.
played him.
Wait a minute. West Virginia. Wait a minute. Give me a chance to look this over. She said, I'm considering West Virginia welfare.
Then
Um,
she says, I'm only repeating what I heard.
why would you repeat such a thing? Um,
I mean, don't.
no,
It's fine.
I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you what it is. It's 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 uh it's they want to be a distraction. They want to be a distraction. Um, people don't pay attention to the chat because there's people there that want attention. They want to be a distraction. They want to take the focus off of Summer's case. And I don't understand that. That doesn't, make any sense to me.
I mean, in all honesty, and no disrespect to Aunt Sherry, because I used to listen to her all the time, but I could repeat things I've heard about her that came right over friends and family's mouths.
Yeah,
but I don't listen to that stuff.
No,
I don't listen to it, and I wouldn't repeat it. I love Aunt Sherry, but when I say people don't know who I am, I don't know who you are. I can tell you I'm rich.
Right, exactly. Small town. Who cares if you're on welfare or not? It's nobody's.
I wish the hell I would have 25 or 35 years ago.
That yeah, because you worked yourself into a lot of health issues that you have.
Yes, I do.
That you got to live with now.
End stage COPD. End stage. I have a heart valve bad, and in my lung, and in fact,
and you told me that your arms and everything. I'm going to tell you something.
I'm dying every day. I'm dying. I'll tell you, I'm worse.
Right. I have seen a lot of women, mothers, single moms, and some not single moms. They did, it just took two incomes to keep the household running. And both parents had to work hard, to make ends meet. It's not always a single mom household, but I've seen many, many women, they don't get to stay home and just cook and clean and take care of their children and, and do, and do that rigorous job. They have to go out 8 hours a day and, and work another rigorous job. They're working one job that's 24/7, being a mother, being a wife, taking care of a home, worrying about all the bills, worrying about, 3 meals a day and snacks and everything else, keeping the kids clothed and chewed. And I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot for a woman, just to run a household. But all the laundry she has to keep up and put away, and it's a lot of work. And then she's working 8 hours on top of that. And a lot of these women don't get no nice sit down office jobs. They don't get to work in places where they can rest when they want to, maybe take a seat and just rest for a little bit. A lot of these women are working factory jobs. They're working restaurant jobs. They're working,
Let me tell you,
cafeteria.
for 17 years, I run an all-man construction business. And it was good.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of women work construction.
I loved it. I loved it. But me and my partner didn't get well. And
I did not like eating off of food trucks. I did not like boards being used to put across, manhole size water puddles, mud puddles out there. That the board breaks and your foot goes, you're all wet. And it's icy outside and cold as it can be, and and those places don't have no heat inside of them. There might be one unit that has a heater blowing in it, and that's where everybody tries to go and warm up before going back into the cold ones to to finish casing and basing and doing laying carpet and doing all the stuff, because somebody don't want to turn on no heat until everything's done. And so, and you got electricians in there, you got plumbers in there, arguing and going. Electricians and plumbers do not get along. I don't know why. But and you want to talk about a rigorous job, honey, that right there is. And no wonder your arms hurt. No wonder that you can barely walk and having to be rolled after a few steps. And that's what I'm talking about. Many women's bodies just get put through the mill, and and these women don't deserve to be called West Virginia welfare or Kentucky welfare, right? Florida welfare. They don't get, you don't get to do that to people. You don't get to do that to people, especially when you don't, if you don't know if it's true or not, I probably shouldn't say it, right? Probably shouldn't say it. And, and I don't understand that, because, you didn't even suspect it. You didn't even suspect it. You just decided to repeat something ugly someone else said. I mean, really? That is just like, and I'm surprised at Sherry, because Sherry's a school teacher. Sherry was able to sit down in a chair, she was able to sit down on a chair and rest when she wanted to. She was, she was able to sit down on the school bus and ride along with the kids. She, she had I'm not saying being a school teacher is easy, because there's nothing easy about it.
Sherry, I want to apologize. It's just I'll sit and I'll see things that like people insinuate. I am very sick. In fact, hospice has been working with me. So I don't know. I might only have a month left. I don't know. But I know they killed your daughter.
Not that welfare, your health and issues. No.
I just want to say, I know they killed your daughter. It came out of their mouths. Fred's involved. A guy named, what's his name? Arnold or something. What's it called?
You know what, West Virginia Butterfly? Please do not apologize. Please do not
No,
apologize.
I shouldn't have got that upset, but
No, because if she was talking about your health, if she was talking about your health, she would have said, West Virginia, how, I'm concerned with the welfare of your health, or, West Virginia butterfly,
and Sherry, I understand, honey.
how
I'm
how's the
sorry.
welfare of your life. She said West Virginia welfare. She said West Virginia welfare. Honey, that has nothing to do with your health.
All right, PG. I like Aunt Sherry. I know it. I understand.
I like Aunt Sherry too. But I'm
But
not
I
going
want
to
to
let her.
apologize for getting
I'm not
upset.
going to let her
So
backpedal. No, I'm not going to let her backpedal out of this one. I'm not going to, because it wasn't meant to be nice. It was not meant to be nice. She knows that. She knows what she did, and I'm not going to allow it. Absolutely not. I went back and read it. I seen it with my own two eyes. It said West Virginia, instead of West Virginia butterfly, it said West Virginia welfare.
yeah,
Which was a not nice statement.
well, and I shouldn't have got so upset. For me, it's very late, you guys. I'm usually in bed by 10.
Yeah,
But I am gonna jump off here, PG, because
No.
I'm tired, honey. I'm tired. I got to get on this respirator. I've had breathing all day.
All right.
You and I will talk tomorrow.
Okay, sweetie.
I love
Absolutely.
you. Good night, everybody, and
Love
thank
you
you for the
too.
prayers.
All righty.
All right, bye.
This is something that I'm fed up with and I'm tired of. Sherry, I just blocked you. Sherry, because you know what? All the people here, you've been a problem. You've been a problem for me on the last few times. I let you up here the last time, and I had West Virginia butterfly up here the last time, and you came up here and basically interrupted, and she didn't get to talk about Summer. All these people wanting to hear her talk about Summer, and they all want to hear her talk about Summer. And she comes in here to do that, and Brooks comes up and starts her BS, and then makes false reports, not only to law enforcement, but she wants to make false reports to some exploited children place, right? She makes false reports there as well. And then tonight, Sherry wants to come back in, and she was trying to come up, and I didn't let her come up because I knew it was going to be a problem. And I just, and I wanted West Virginia butterfly to be comfortable, but Sherry went into the chat and started her crap, and now West Virginia butterfly is gone, because this is what happens. When people with her kind of medical conditions gets upset, like Sherry made her, it stirs her health, and she has to get off, because it starts to making her breathe too hard, and she's on oxygen. And and she comes up here, she gets she's able to get off the oxygen a little while here and there. And if she stays calm, she can talk for a while. But if she gets, if something irritates her, gets her upset, then she kind of uses up everything within a few minutes, and has to go get back on it and stay on it for a while before she can, function again. And I think it's just wrong for these people to be doing what they're doing to her. Why do these people want to protect Dawn and Candace Wells? Why do they not want the truth about Dawn and Candace and their shenanigans be put out here for Summer's sake? Are these people for the missing children, or are they against them? You know, that's my question. You know, if if they're against these children and for the suspects, then why don't they just open a different type of community, right? Why don't they open a let's protect suspects, you know, instead of children community, and go to it and leave this community alone, where people actually do want to find the missing children. They actually do want to bring them home, and they actually do want to get justice on behalf of these babies. I mean, if you're not going to be here for the right reason, you shouldn't be here at all. That's, you know, that's just my opinion. But I'm fed up. I'm fed up with, you know, these people who want to cause issues all the time, and they, you know, out of jealousy, out of hatred, out of I don't know what. I mean, you know, Brooks got so angry that Summer's channel, which over here was getting some support, some super chats, some super stickers. She decided that she wanted to have a full-blown live and use calling in a false report to some exploited children's place as her content. She makes a false report to use for her content. I mean, how dangerous is that? And, you know, why wasn't she calling in this? You know, why wasn't she wanted to call in lies on PG, you know, because I care about all children, not, you know, not some children. I mean, the court system should not cover up. They should not cover up charges. They should not let people, you know, sign the kids over to the state to avoid prosecution. Unless they're going to put them on a register's list. Because everyone should know if an SAer is living around them, whether they got away with it or not. By signing their kids over, they should still go on a register's list. So that people know to keep your children away from them. But Brooks don't think so. Brooks doesn't think so. Brooks thinks that you should cover up what the suspect's done. She thinks it's just fine to not, you know, to not let people know and fall victim and end up falling victim to these predators, right? Well, I happen not to believe that. I think everyone should be safe. Everyone has a right to know if their children are in danger. Everyone has a right to know if something like that's living around them, right? Absolutely. That's why they got a register's list. That's why they have that list, is so you know to keep your children safe and the hell away from that particular house in your community. Watch your children extra close if you have people like that anywhere in your communities. It's for the safety of the children. It's an alert for the parents. But you got people out there. Why do they want to cover up for these people? Why do they want to cover up for these kind of people? I don't know. I'm going to tell you something. Those kind of people, there's no cure for those kind of people. I don't care what anyone says. There's no cure for them type of people. And those type of people have got to be watched and kept away from children. Those type of people should really be in jail. Those type of people really should be out of our society because they cannot be fixed and they're dangerous. And no child deserves to be violated by any person ever. No human, nobody. I don't care who it is. No child should ever have to go through that. That is lifelong physical and mental trauma that doesn't ever leave. That child got a life sentence when someone did that. And those people that did it need to get a life sentence in jail. They should get the same sentence that child got. That's my opinion. I'll keep it. Hey, Brooks, we are all here for summer. PG is a godsend. Let the light shine on folks like PG. Oh, girl, I appreciate that. God bless. All right. Oh, I got a super sticker. Oh, girl, thank you. I really do. God bless you. But yeah, you know, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I want everyone to be safe. You know, I want everyone to be safe. I don't care if it's a child. I don't care if it's a teenager, young adult, middle-aged, older adult. It doesn't matter. Everyone on this earth has a right to be safe and feel safe. And not just in their home, but wherever they go. And in today's world, that's a real problem. It's a real problem. No one feels safe anymore. That's been taken away from us. It's been taken away from us. And I truly believe it's because, you know, in my opinion, it's because law enforcement and the court system, you know, can't get along. There's issues there. In the court system, you know, law enforcement don't want to do all the work to bring these people to court. Because when they bring these people to court, the court just lets them go. And then law enforcement has to chase them down again and chase them again. In the court system, you know, the court system ain't working. And that's the whole problem. That's why law enforcement don't want to work. They don't want to work because the court system don't work. And and officers have told me this. They have told me this. They're out of their own mouths. They said, PG, we run them down. We track them down. We do all the work, fill out all this paperwork, do everything. They go to court. We get them in jail. They go to court and they get released. They're back out there to commit more crimes. Some of these people, you know, they said some of these people, they have actually, you know, ran down and put in jail 5, 6, 7 times. And they keep getting out. They said the court system's broke. You know, and they get tired. Why are they going to run them down and you know, so the court system can turn them loose? And, you know, they're wasting their time. They feel like they're wasting their time. They're trying to uphold the law. They're trying to do what's right. It's the court systems that's broken, right? That according to the law enforcement officers that I've spoke to, you know, personally spoke to, you know, they blame the court system, and I believe them. And in my opinion, it's true. I believe them. I've known people who, you know, go to jail where they should have got 30 years. They got 30 days. And they're back out. You know, a lot of times when you hear that, you know, that when you hear that someone, you know, someone had gotten unalived, they say that, you know, this particular person unalived that person had, you know, had been in trouble for this, and they have been in trouble for that, and they have been in trouble for all kinds of things, right? They have a record as long as your arm. They should have not have been out of jail, but they were out, and they unlive someone. Sometimes they've unlived people before and they're back out and they unlive somebody else. Right? That's just, that's what it is. It's broken. But why didn't she turn this in? My question is, why does she call and lie about PG instead of turning this in?
We're dating. She's all mine. We're dating.
She's all mine. We're dating. That's a child. Why didn't she call in on Andrew? Why didn't she call in on Andrew after seeing this? Why was she talking a lie about PG, but she didn't say one word about Andrew, right? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Right there. Child Protective Services needs, everybody knows his name. Everybody knows where he's at. This should have been sent to Child Protective Services. This should have been sent to Exploiting Children. And he should have been the one she was talking about, not PG. All I've ever done is just try to put out the truth and help find a missing little girl and other missing children in this world. Matter of fact, one missing child we did find and help the parents go and get back. But she wants to, lie and turn people in that didn't need to, but don't turn the people in that did. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. Because it don't make no sense. Right? But here she is.
So what do you think about all the people that Candace has described sexual, I'll just gotta say SA, with a certain child?
She's asking me. She's asking me. She wants to talk about certain children. She wants to talk about that kind of stuff. You don't hear me talking about that. It's her. It's her talking about it. Right?
Sorry, I need to take a cough drop.
Well,
I mean, is all the children lying or is Candace?
no. That many. Did you hear her? Did you hear her? I'm like, well, I don't know what to say about why are we even talking about this, right? And then she asked us, is it, who's lying? Is it all the children or Candace? Why would you even ask a question like that? Why would you try to plant the seed in someone's head that these children are lying? Children don't lie. I'm sorry to tell you, children don't lie about stuff like that. And not only that, but I'm going to tell you something about when a child goes to a psychologist. These children that, that say they have been done, violently like that, these children go to a psychologist. And trust me, the psychologists know what they're doing. And that a psychologist runs an evaluation. And the psychologist knows if it's true or not. Because children know things that they ain't supposed to know. When they're done like that. They know stuff that normal children do not have no idea about. And I'm going to tell you something. She sits there and wants to ask if a child's a liar. Wow. I can't believe that. I can't believe that. And now, that's why a lot of adults, a lot of women, there's it's people like her that causes people not to want to come forth. It's people like Brooks that makes people that's violated in very bad and ugly and dark ways not want to speak up and come forth. That's why, you know, a lot of children don't tell. They're afraid to be called a liar. They're afraid, you know, that they're going to get all the punishment instead of the person who did bad things to them. There's a lot of women out there that get violated. They're afraid to tell anybody because they're afraid that they're going to take the blame, right? What was you wearing? Where was you going? What did you do to cause it? Or you're lying. You're just making that up. Right? I don't think anybody did anything to you. And these people have to live. They have to live with that. They have to live, you know, with that shame, with that horrible darkness all alone. They ain't got nobody to talk to because they're scared to be called a liar. They're scared to be, you know, to be judged. They're scared to be told what did they do to deserve it. They're the ones that, you know what? They're the ones that are made to feel guilty about somebody evil violating them in a way that they should not have ever been violated. And Brooks thinks, you know, it's okay to plant that seed in people's heads because she's got it in hers. I'm going to tell you something. Them kids weren't lying. Those kids weren't lying. Children are not lying.
Mhm.
That many children can't be lying.
And
The
you
point-
heard Virginia Butterfly that said, yeah, it is 17 pages
Um,
on your panel tonight.
I don't think she understood that there was more paperwork, you know, other than the one paper. I think, you know, I was trying to be real nice to Brooks. I was holding my temper. I was holding my patience, right? I was actually trying to be nice to this woman that I knew came to my panel to cause a bunch of crap. I should have booted her. I should have booted her. But I feel, you know, I said to myself, Brooks is Brooks, right? I said to myself, you know, you gotta like people for who they are or forget about it. That's just her. She goes around and does this stuff, you know, and tomorrow she wakes up and you know, seems to be normal. You know, I figured that, you know, she probably in the evenings, like Candace, in the evening, she probably, you know, doing some stuff she shouldn't be doing. And then she goes, you know, she just wants to, once in a while, get out here and somebody's, you know, we come on late. So she wants to, you know, pop up and she's a little bit, you know, a little bit tipsy or whatever, saying stuff that, you know, just whatever's entering her mind. And tomorrow she get up like, whoa, I can't believe I did that. And so I was trying to be patient. Just, you know, write it out. Let her be Brooks in the evenings. And she just took it too far. Right? think she was thought that you were talking about,
No, she's seen it. I guarantee she's seen it.
I mean, she's sitting here trying to put words in a lady's mouth that didn't say it. Brooks wants to force things in people's mouths that did not say it. At no time did West Virginia Butterfly say she had 17 pages or seen 17 pages or even knew about 17 pages. The only one that was saying they knew about that was Brooks. We didn't even know. We didn't even know until she came over here and told us. To be honest with you, I don't think she did, because I don't think it really exists. Until I see it, I can't believe it. See? I said, I don't think it exists. And I said, till I see it, I can't believe it. And I knew she didn't have it. There's no 17 pages. If I'd have had, I was so worried about West Virginia Butterfly and her health and everything, and going through all of this on our panel, that I just didn't have, my intelligent thinking hat on. Because if I would have, let Brooks know, listen, there's no way you have that kind of information, because that's sealed. That's sealed information that has to have a court order in order for even prosecutors and attorneys or anyone else to get a hold of. Even law enforcement has to have a damn good reason to, get a hold of that kind of information. So, there's no way Brooks has it, because even the Wells wouldn't have it, because, it would put the boys at risk. It would put the children at risk to give that type of, information even to the parents. That is in a vault. That's sealed. And because they're minors, is sealed. So there's no way that information would have even, been allowed to be put out anywhere. So, it is a lie. And she still insists that it exists, but it doesn't. And they all know it. Every damn last one of them knows it. I mean, I'm not saying that there's more paperwork, Yeah, there is. There is more paperwork. Of course there is. There's the psychological paperwork, and there's the medical paperwork, which went to the court system, right? That went to, it went to CPS first, then it went over to the court system. All the findings went in to what they called sealed documents. And the only thing they sent out to Don and Candace was a cover page and the page of what they're being charged for. And if Don and Candace wanted anything else, they would have had to lawyer up. They'd have had to, insist on being prosecuted. And then they would have had to, the lawyer would have had to, get a motion of discovery and all the stuff. And the court's approval to see the sealed documents and so forth and so on. And even the attorney wouldn't have let, he would have looked it all over, but he still wouldn't have gave Don and Candace any paperwork, because these are minors, and he wouldn't be able to do that. He's smarter than that. Paperwork explaining, the charges for each child. I'm sure there is. We just saw the one with the 3 kids and the 3 charges all in one paper. But I'm sure there was, initial paperwork for each one of the children and what the children said, what the charges were. And I'm sure Candace and Don's got, copies of that. But I don't believe. No, they don't. That's what I'm talking about. I wasn't thinking. I was not thinking. Absolutely not. They would not. I don't know why, why I didn't have my thinking cap on, but no, they wouldn't have. I think they would have burned it. I think they would have burned it if they had it. I think they would have. And why do I say that? Because remember when law enforcement went into the Wells houses and Candace and Grandis came back up on the hill right before Don got out of jail, and for like a whole week and a half, they were up there. I was up there destroying stuff that way. They was up there for like a week and a half, and nobody knows what they were, what they was destroying up there. For a whole week and a half, it was still going when Don got out of jail. It was still out there going in the yard, and they were still bringing stuff and putting in there. So absolutely, and I know for a fact that that was true. Everybody could see the smoke going up, so that's true.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I mean,
No, I'm not kidding. I'm not
some
kidding.
people they have printed out and they all have their own copies. Well, the problem is which child in that report is going to speak out and which parent or guardian is going to help them. Will you do it?
I don't even know what she was talking about there. I don't, she's like, which child is going to speak out and which parent and guardian is going to help them? And I'm like, I'm lost. She just comes out of the blue with that, but she goes on to explain it. Listen.
I can't.
Right. No, I
walked Andrew through the entire process.
She said she walked Andrew through the entire process. Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
I walked Andrew through the entire process.
Oh, so she's saying that she sent all this paperwork. She's trying to say that H was one of them on the paperwork. She's trying to say that she shared that with Andrew, H's dad, and she's saying that she walked him through the process. She walked him through the process. She walked what we just saw. What we just saw. Talking about, she's mine. We're dating. She walked that through the process. So she turned over all this information to someone who went to Tennessee, met up with Don and Candace, went to a storage locker, had a whole lot more people, but they went back home with an empty truck, right? And she walks him through the process with this paperwork. Whoa. We didn't catch that, did we? We didn't catch that.
He gave up.
We can't. Oh, he gave up. He gave up. Let no more people be put on that chain. We can't let no more people become the victims. These motherfuckers are still free. They're still free. And people are still trusting them. We need to get the word out there. We need to let people know. No, don't trust them. Stay the hell away from them. When people see that paper, when they look at that paper and they really get their eyes on it, they say, son of a bitch, I didn't know. Yeah, that's what they say. I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know. I should have kept my child away from them. I didn't know. Kathy, the friend, she didn't know that she shouldn't be letting Candace sleep in the room with her daughter, right? Hillbilly didn't know that he shouldn't let Candace be running around with his daughter, right? The other lady hanging up on the hill that took her granddaughter up there, swinging on the swing set, she didn't know that they shouldn't be around her granddaughter, right? Cam and Allie didn't know that they shouldn't let Candace around their children. You know, I opened myself up to this shit. You know,
Me too.
now everybody's keeping an eye on Dawn, but nobody was keeping an eye on Candace. Oh my gosh, why didn't we see this before? Why couldn't we see this before I had my little boy or my little girl around these people? And that's what people are saying. Why, if people, you had this kind of information, why was they not letting these people know, hey, keep your child safe. Don't have your child around there. You know, stay away. They didn't warn these people. They didn't warn these people with little boys and girls. They didn't warn these people, you know, that this is not what you want to be taking your children around or trusting. They didn't warn these people. And a lot of people, you know, were bringing their children to the prayer vigils, and here they are inviting Dawn and Candace, come on in around people's kids, because they didn't know. They were having vigils, inviting Dawn and Candace, come on in, because they didn't know. They were going to these carnivals and stuff, setting up booths, and having all kinds of people's children there, going everywhere. And they have Dawn and Candace there around tons of people's kids, but they didn't know. They did not know. And they wouldn't have had them there if they did. No one would have invited them if they knew, right? So by keeping stuff like that back, you're putting other children at risk. Everybody has a right to know. Everyone has a right to know, and every child has a right to be kept safe. But Brooks don't think so. She don't think so.
Oh, Don has all the paperwork. He's got 17 pages.
Don's got 17 pages. Don has 17 pages. Now listen to this.
And Candace has 23.
And Candace has 23. I thought there was only 17 pages altogether. But Candace has 23. Brooks don't have 17 pages anymore, you guys. She got 23 on Candace. Put a 1 in the chat if you think this paperwork is BS. Because I think it is. You know, I think she's lying. How in the hell did 17 pages go to 23? Don's got 17 now. Candace got 23. Wow. I don't believe it. I don't believe that they got anything, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I think it's all made up in Brooks' head. I think it's a bunch of lies. And I think, you know, and that's pretty disgusting to make stuff like that up. That's pretty disgusting. I mean, that isn't something a normal person sits around and thinks about. For sure. You know, I don't think about, 17 or 23 pages of stuff that this woman's making up in her head that she supposedly has on Dawn and Candace. And not just on Dawn and Candace, but she's got a bunch of paperwork on some other sickening things as well, she says. And I don't believe she has any paperwork at all. I think she has some mental issues going on, some severe mental issues going on. and myself, I think, I really think that someone needs to look into her. Professionals need to look in to her and evaluate. She needs an evaluation, a mental evaluation, to see if she's even, stable enough to, to even be out here running a channel. That's what I think, because she's saying some really weird stuff that she has, claiming to have some really weird information, I mean, some sealed, something that don't even come through the mail. She's got stuff that's, sealed documents in her possession with all kinds of, weird information on it. If anyone needed to be turned into exploiting children, she should. Because in the next video I'm going to play you, she says that she's got paperwork that has nothing to do with Dawn and Candace. Here she's saying, that she has paperwork, 17 pages on Dawn and 23 on Candace. But then she says she's also got 17 pages on, in the next video, she's saying she's got 17 pages on kids with kids. What the hell? What? I don't know about any of that stuff. And let her know, I don't have no paperwork like that. Right? I ain't ever even seen paperwork like that. That is something that would be, locked away and sealed up, inside of a room at a courthouse that you can't even get back there and see without permission. That's what I'm talking about, right? You wouldn't even be able to get in there and see those records without, permission to do so. And then they walk back there with you, right? It's like going to your safety deposit box. They walk back there with you and stand there and watch you while you're looking over it. They don't even trust attorneys. They don't even trust the attorneys. They watch. And the attorneys are able to look at it and everything, but they got to put the file back. They got to put it back. They get to brush over it, and then it's got to go back in the vault. And they got to leave. They don't get to put it in their bag. They don't get to copy it. They don't get to screenshot it. They get to look over it, review it, see what it says, and stick it back. Right? Oh yeah, Jack, I believe it. She's a yeah, absolutely. She's a cartoon. She's a cartoon. She's a cartoon and a half. But yeah, that's what she says. And you're about to hear that too.
Well, can I share the screen and show you what she's doing right now?
No, Brooks, you cannot share my screen because I do not trust you. to share my screen. Hell to the no. Absolutely not. Nobody comes over here and shares the screen. Nobody. Absolutely nobody. No, I can't share the screen. Brooks, sorry, but I can't.
Okay, I'll just show you what she's doing right now. Okay, that's fine. But she's just doing amazing. Okay, and she's a genius. Okay.
Hey, I'm glad to hear that.
And we're oh my God. Hang on. God damn it, son. I told you what to.
You see how she talks to people? You see how she talks to her family? Wow. Wow. That's all I can say is wow. I can't believe someone would talk to their child like that. If you want your children to learn respect, kindness, love, and caring, patience, if you want your children to be a plus in society in the future, if you want your children to be out there helping other people and treating people with the utmost respect, you want them to be God-fearing, law-abiding, good citizens in the future, you don't talk to them like this, because children mimic you. Children mimic you. Usually, if a parent needs anger management classes, their children will end up needing them too. Because that stuff transfers. It transfers. Until someone in that family decides to break the chain and say, I'm not going to be like this. I'm not going to ever be the way these people were, and breaks the chain, it won't get broken. It's a big problem. It's a big problem.
Wow.
Anyway, there's a new sheriff in town, you guys. As of September.
So sorry about that. I just told my son, I told him what to do. Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like you didn't do it.
No, she likes her comfy socks, and that's a whole thing. She has to have her comfy socks, and that's it.
Right?
She has to have her ruffly socks, and the ones that he put on her drove her nuts. And so when he knows I'm talking to my friends, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. He knows that's what she wants. Let's go back to the show. So what do you think about the new sheriff? Because I actually believe this guy is going to turn things upside down.
I think so too. I think so too, Brooks. What do you think? What do you think, West Virginia Butterfly?
I hope and I pray that this sheriff, he's already been following us, I'm sure, but that this sheriff takes it and runs and gets it. I hope he gets it right. Ronnie Lawson, to me, in my opinion, has been part of this issue. That's just my opinion. And I just hope to God and pray to God that he gets them. Just a big part of me thinks he's gonna rock the world.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Their mayor would be, not mayor, sheriff would be Roddy Miller, because he had a staunch thing about crime, and so, but they didn't go with that. What I couldn't believe is how many people didn't vote.
Well, I tell you what, this particular This particular sheriff,
In the entire county, you've got 60,000 people. That's their primary. And not even 7,000 people voted. That's how much they care.
They were more upset that Ronnie lost and was leaving.
well,
You right now, I mean, when there's an election around here, we come out in droves.
oh yeah, and well, and you know, in bigger communities and stuff, that's true.
I'll tell you right now, Hawkins County is a huge area. Huge.
Um,
I'm telling you what, there's tons of people.
it's,
Uneducated, I get that.
these people are Hawkins County is a lot of isolation. It's a lot of isolation in there, and a lot of these people, you know, and you got a lot of crime inside of there as well, and a lot of these people, you know, don't give a damn who's the sheriff, and a lot of them think they don't need law enforcement anyway. A lot of them think that the law enforcement, you know, might as well not be there for the protection that they get as it is.
Here is midterm, so everyone should be out, you know, figuring out like who's going to take care of what they do. I mean, everyone knows that we
Well,
can vote for someone, and if they don't, they don't, and if they can't bitch.
well, the guy that they actually put into office, he is affiliated with them anyway, and I think he was on, you know, kind of like on the outside looking in during all of this, and I think he could see where they were making all their mistakes. And when he comes into office, I think he's going to show them, you know, I think he's going to show them what they should have did and didn't, and possibly solve this crime. That's just my opinion, you know.
Exactly. I mean, I just do know that Nana for Life and other people I've talked to him say they're very, very fully encouraged.
Well, he also, I think, you know, I also think that he's, you know, trying to, you know, not spook anybody in this investigation. I think he's, you know, I think he's got a real agenda. I mean, you know, law enforcement always, you know, they're always one step ahead of everything. And, you know, and I think this is what law enforcement needed. I think, you know, I think this is what Hawkins County needed. I think it needed a fresh set of eyes, you know, a new mind, body, and soul over top of everything. And, you know, and somebody that, you know, ain't afraid to step on people's toes. You know, I don't want friends. I want to uphold the law and do what needs to be done. I think Ronnie was too friend-based to, you know, to really help anybody if they were having problems with his friend base.
Oh, please. I've never had friends on my channel. I've only had enemies, to be quite honest. I mean, you think anyone's liked me?
She don't have no friends because she doesn't know how to be a friend. I heard, you know, allegedly, she lost 10 mods because she was so mean and evil to them that 10 of them left. She can't keep mods. You know, our mods has been here forever and ever. Like forever. She can't keep any.
When I went after Donna and Candace, or when I said things I shouldn't have said about different people in different cases. No, they're not my friends. They're not my friends. I was speaking the truth.
Right.
Reported truth. And
I was listening to I'm going to tell you, I don't and haven't ever overly watched Brooks, to be honest with you. Ever. But what time I did watch Brooks, I didn't ever hear any truth. I didn't ever hear any truth. And I sure ain't heard none, over the past week, right? I sure haven't heard none over the past week. And hell, she went to lying on me. She went to lying on me, She lies on everybody else, and then she went to lying on me. I'm like, whoa. I didn't do anything to deserve that. She came to our channel. She, provoked everything that happened. And, and got all her bloomers in a knot, because nobody was willing to go along with her 17 pages that somehow turned into 23. And before you know it, there'll probably be a mother freaking, I would like to say, a whole damn book, but it's more than likely a mother freaking sequence instead of a book, because it's going to go on and on and on.
And I can tell you right now, I've never privated or unlisted one video. I mean, unless it's for members. I mean, it goes from public to members.
Right. Well, that's good. I heard you saying something about Candace and West Virginia Butterfly. You had a message for her.
I did. So she has to send me an email, and I can send it to her.
I really don't care what you said.
Oh, it's not from her. It's from her friend Kathy.
Well, Kathy and her were supposed to have been lovers. That's what Candace said.
Okay. All right. And so
So I don't want to hear any bullshit. I mean, like I said last night, I don't have anything to lose. I really don't care what anybody says about me.
I'm trying to embarrass you. You're a very nice lady. And I mean, Candace already put you out there saying that you guys were a girlfriend.
And that was a joke.
You see how, Brooks is sitting there like she's doing that. It's supposed to be two positives and a negative, but she's doing like negative and then, a positive, and then now she's going to hit a negative.
Is that a joke? I mean, you're married and she's married.
Look, her and I made the joke
She's dyslexic in psychology. Right.
up together, and she put no L in it then. It was a joke that was put out there to see how everybody reacted. I wouldn't touch her with somebody else's thingy. It just wouldn't. I wouldn't do it.
Okay. All right. Well, this is from her friend Kathy. So I just want to send that to you. If you want to send me an email, I can just forward it to you. You can get a hold of her.
Okay. Well, okay. But I really don't care what whoever has to say. I just don't.
No, it's not. It's not anyone else. I could care less. It's from Kathy.
I don't care. I mean, Candace was talking crap about.
I mean, how many times does this woman need to tell her, I don't care? I'm up here to talk about Summer's case. I'm up here to try to tell people everything I know because I'm having a lot of health issues. I don't know how much time I have. And I would like to let all these people understand what's going on out there. I would like to, I would just like to share all of this stuff that I've been, sharing with law enforcement. Nothing's getting done. I want to bring it to the public. I want to let all these people know maybe all of these voices together can get something done for the little girl. I just want to see something moving in this case before I go, I meet my maker. Hopefully I got some time to be here on earth. Hopefully I got some time to see Summer found, her case solved. But I want to help. I don't want to go out of the world not doing what I feel I could have done. And that's get everything out that I want to talk about. And we're trying to allow her to do this. And she ain't able to do it because of Sherry's wanting to come in here and call her West Virginia welfare because she thought it was funny hearing it somewhere else. She didn't care about her welfare, as in her health. She called her WV welfare. She was making fun of her name. And we all know it, and that was unacceptable. The one who should, and then this poor woman's apologizing to Sherry when Sherry needed to be apologizing to her.
Cassie, 6-7 months ago.
Really?
So,
Do
come
tell.
on.
Do tell. What did she say, West Virginia?
Something about her having something that belonged to Candace, and that she wouldn't give it up because she knew that she could use it against Candace. I don't know what it was. I didn't ask.
Oh, so the box wasn't the only secret Kathy was keeping.
Right.
And that's the reason I sent you the email,
Oh,
because Kathy thinks that you know what else is missing.
I guess that'll come out. I don't know, but I will tell you this, and I hope they understand this. I gave TBI permission
Mm-hmm.
to listen in on my calls or any phone calls. That was almost from the beginning. So Miss Candy ass better watch every move she makes and
Mhm.
anybody else, because they got the calls. Now, I didn't have them. No, you're not allowed to listen to my personal calls. No, you're not allowed. It was specifically with Candace and Dawn.
Molly Robert
way
just
to go, girl. Way to go.
all this behind the scenes stuff. Listen, this is about a little girl. I believe that a person on the panel should have a right to defend herself against what Kathy has said.
I don't care what Kathy said.
And do you give Brooks permission to say what Kathy the friend wrote?
I don't know. I mean, Kathy doesn't know me.
I promise you don't. If you want me to, I can.
Go ahead.
But I mean, I have to share the screen because there's a lot of videos and everything included.
What?
Look,
No.
I played a rough game, Brooks. I played a real rough game for almost 5 years.
Yeah, I don't play a rough game. I mean, I'm just telling you. I mean, these are the nasty things that people say.
But
Well,
I don't care.
I can send it straight to Prayer Garden and she could put it up, but I can't share the screen.
I mean, she wants to see it, and all y'all can do that on your own. I could care less.
Yeah, you could send it to me through Facebook.
Okay.
Brooks, let me tell you about one day in my life. When my eyes open in the mornings, I'm on a respirator. So then I got a scream from my husband, or what I do is we have these walkie-talkies, to come in and get me off of it. The next thing I got to do, I got to set up on the edge of the bed until I can get my heart to beat where it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Then I go to the bathroom. I come back, I get in the bed. He'll bring me a cup of coffee. He's not well himself. He'll bring me a cup of coffee. We'll chit-chat for a minute. Then he'll say, "You ready?" And I'll say, "Okay." So he takes my arm and he walks me through my living room, through my dining room, out in my kitchen, and by then he has to wheel me back to my room. Then I start on the 4 inhalers that I take, each one twice a day. Then I open a lockbox. It's got 30-some pills in it that I have to take multiples of. So then I got lunch, but I'm not hungry. That's part of the dying end, we say, but I don't want to eat anything. So, then, by then it's dinner time and I'm begging him to eat something, or my daughter will cook dinner and I'll try, but I'm not hungry. Then the evening comes, towards the evening, I get my shot, and then he'll say, "You want some ice cream?" No, don't feel like it. I get put back on the respirator and I take my medicine and I go to sleep. That's my life. Every day. That's my life. I cried harder last night over Summer than I've ever seen Don or her cry. Some things I know I can't get by, man. My chest hurts, because my heart's not good either. But I really wanted to help find this little girl, or where they put her. But that's my life. So if I'm going to sit and get on YouTube or whatever.
And right there, West Virginia Butterfly was saying, "Look, Brooks, I've got a lot of health issues going on. I got, I'm worried. I just want to help. I just want to do, what's right for Summer. I just want to help this little girl like everybody does. We want to help her. We want to we got to be Summer's voice. And I want to be her voice. I want a place where I can be her voice for a while. I don't care about Kathy the friends. I don't care about who's saying what. That ain't why I'm here." Brooks don't get the memo. She didn't get the memo, right? She was upsetting this lady until the lady finally, had to go and, get back on her oxygen and rest up before she could come out again. And then she comes here tonight and Sherry starts it,
To see what people are saying bad about me. I don't have no time in the day to do that. I mean,
Oh,
he's
honey,
irritating.
honey, it's not about you. Trust me. No one came on here to attack you.
Oh, no, I didn't think.
Do you see how sarcastic she was? "Oh, honey, it's not about you. Nobody came on here. You bet your ass you didn't come on here for that, because she would have got the steel-toe boot. She didn't come on here for that. She came on here just to be a problem in a nice way, right? Trying to get her little punch in, because she was upset that, West Virginia Butterfly decided to come to this channel instead of going to hers or somewhere else. That's Brooks' problem. And Brooks is also connected up with, some people who are very, kissy to the whales, right? She's hooked up with people kissy to the whales. And all those people kissy to the whales want to protect Dawn and Candace. And, and Brooks, of course, she wants to protect Dawn and Candace too. She doesn't care about other kids, being at risk. She doesn't care about saving them or helping them. All she cares about is helping herself. That's why she started a second channel, right? One channel ain't enough. It ain't enough money in the bank. She went and started a second one.
I think so. No, I'm not saying that.
I mean, my
But
good.
if Kathy has some smart ass shit to say, I mean,
Now, I mean, all I said was, Kathy sent me some videos, and you said, I don't care what she has to say.
Yeah, I don't care what you have to say. or the videos. I mean, I don't care.
Okay, well, I mean, send me your email. It'd be better for me to send it directly to you as opposed to me just blurting it out.
Nobody out here. West Virginia butterflies blurt it out. I don't care, blurt it out. Get it over with. Just get out of here so we can proceed with what I came here to do. Right? I mean, wow. Nobody out here knew about that paper. Nobody out here ever. Brooks is like that person, that person that walks in to a freaking bookstore or a coffee shop or a mother freaking restaurant, and that person that sits there and I just don't understand this menu. I just don't understand why there's pictures on the front. I just don't understand why it's in 2 languages. Why does it need to be in 2 languages? I mean, I only speak 1. We don't care what you speak. Other people speak different languages. The point being is there's a language there for you to read, for you to order. What's the problem? Right? What's the damn problem? She will have you at the table and no one else in the place will get served because she wants to talk an hour about shit that don't matter. Right? Saw that substantiated SA charges against Don and Candace Wells. And, and Shadow, was willing to,
Shadow is, I have all 17 pages, 2 were blank, and everything in there is horrific and gross.
Yeah.
She's got 17 pages. Now listen to this. 17 pages and everything in there is horrific. And she said gross. That's out of her mouth, not PG's mouth. Nobody out here ever saw that substantiated SA charges against Don and Candace Wells. And, and Shadow, was willing to,
Shadow is, I have all 17 pages, 2 were blank, and everything in there is horrific and gross.
Yeah.
You have
every bit of it, and so does Nana for Life and other people.
Right.
How come nobody brought it out here? How come nobody
because
brought it out here?
It implicates other children.
Because why? Why did nobody share it to save other children? How come people, if people had this?
Well, I mean, I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of people that have it. You don't even want to see that paperwork. It's disgusting. You can tell me right now, you've seen it. It's horrible.
I did not see 17 sheets of paper. I saw 1. I think, see, she was trying to put words in my mouth. I said, no, I ain't seen no 17 pages of nothing like this. Right? I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't even know, I'm thinking that 17 pages at that particular time, I'm worried about West Virginia butterfly. I'm worried about her health. I'm thinking 17 pages. Okay. Something was tapping my brain, which was, it should have been in, this kind of stuff should be in a sealed documents. And I'm thinking, I don't think this stuff exists, but she's saying she's got it. And is it, was it, if she does, have something, it's, I'm sure it's following the charges, right? It's following the charges on Don and Candace. It's about the charges that they got charged with. And she goes off the rail into left field with this 17 pages is not about Don. What she'll say, it's not about Don and Candace. That everyone out here had every right to see it, every right to know it, and every right to understand. And you should not have your children anywhere near these two people who have done this. The three other children, one child completely missing.
It's not up to me to tell everyone what happened in that house.
Well, it is up to. What are we out here for? Why is there a true crime community if we are not going to do everything we can to get the answers for these missing kids so they can be found, brought home, and justice served? I mean, I think she says it's not her business about, what's going on in that house, but she was showing, when Chris went up there and went inside that house and, it was a wreck and the mattresses were dirty, and she was showing all of that for content, wasn't she? Wasn't she? When Candace was outside, staying in the rain, she was showing that, wasn't she? When the news station went up there and Grandis was sitting out there and she was showing that, wasn't she? Well, and then she wants to stand here when you could help other kids, save other people from becoming victims. All of a sudden, that ain't her business. Everything's her damn business. But that's not her business. What the freak? Come on now. It is up to me because I'm out here being a voice for the voiceless. Exactly. I'm out here. That's what that's what we signed up for when we opened it
in that house. And the whole thing is, it's really not about Dawn and Candace. It's other kids on other kids. I mean, you saw 17 pages, 2 were blank.
I didn't see 17 pages of nothing. I had to tell her twice. Did you hear that? Did you hear me have to tell her twice? She tries to put words in people's mouths so she can run off and say, oh, they said they saw 17 pages of something. No, nobody saw it. Nobody saw it. It's almost like she was saying, hint, hint, say you saw it. Hint, hint, say you saw it. No, I'm not a liar. And I'm not going to go along with no damn lies. I will not do it.
I'm not privy to it. I can tell you right now.
Who sent it to me?
Don't even think about it.
Nobody sent that to me. If they sent it to me, it would all be up here for everybody to see.
Mm-hmm. And I
put that shit out. I put that shit out right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll send it to you right now, and I hope you don't post it.
See, she's saying, I'll send it to you right now. She was wanting me, I hope you don't post it. She said, open your screen. I'm going to share it with you. Right? Put a 1 in the chat if you heard her say, open your screen. I'm going to share it with you right now. I'm going to show everything to you. Let me share your screen. Then she says, I'm going to send it to you. Come on. She's mother freaking, I'm telling you, there's something mentally wrong with this woman. For real. Yeah, that's exactly what she said. Open your screen. Open your screen. I'm going to share it with you. And then she's like, I'm going to send it to you, but I hope you don't put it out. You know,
Disgusting.
and
You were trying to
you
put
send
it
it to
out.
me.
Put it up on my
I'll
screen.
post it. I'll post it. I have no problem posting.
Okay.
Trust me. I don't. I think that we have people. We have Summers Army out here.
Mhm.
All of these people, a voice for the voiceless.
It's really
Hundreds of people out here being a voice for the voiceless, and they've been here, Brooks, for 5 years. 5 years as of June 15, 2026. These people have faithfully stayed a
I'm
voice
going
for
to.
this little girl
Let's see.
for 5
I'm going.
consecutive years.
I'm going to get out.
Oh, why? I was going to have you stay up while we go through some stuff. I thought maybe, you could give some insight on it.
she already knows.
But anyway,
She
You know, Brooks,
She's
one
going-
time, yeah, I think you were modding for somebody or something, Brooks, and they wanted me to mod, but they said you didn't like me. So I come into your chat one day and I said, Brooks, I'm here to apologize for something. And you
What?
said, well, if you're here to apologize, you don't need to be here, and you booted me.
what?
No, that never happened.
Okay.
Hey, I think that West Virginia Butterfly knows what happened. I think she knows. She remembers going to be a mod, and Brooks said no. And she didn't know why Brooks was upset with her, mad at her, or anything. She went over to Brooks' chat and she was like, if I did something, I would like to apologize. And Brooks throwed her completely out of the chat, like totally booted her, right? I mean, she ain't even big enough to take an apology. She can't even take an apology. Spread love, member for 35 months. All right. But yeah, I just think that everybody out here
Yeah, Brooks, send it
that's
to
been here
send it
so
to
long
PG.
has,
What? No, I'm talking about those 17 pages. Send them to PG. We'll see if she'll put them up.
oh, I would.
But you
Absolutely.
already have them. Send them to her, please.
To PG?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Send them to her. And
See, West Virginia. West Virginia Butterfly was all confused. Brooks is telling her, I want to send you stuff, about Kathy the friend. Okay, share your screen and I'll show you Kathy the friend stuff. No, I'm not sharing my screen with you. Send it to me and I'll put it up on the screen. Then she says she's got 17 papers of stuff, right? And she's wanting to send, share and stuff. Open the screen, PG. We're going to share the 17 pages of stuff. No, send it to me and I'll share it. Oh, I hope you don't share it. Well, why are you trying to share it? And then she goes on to say, I'll have a private live and share it on my channel. And then she couldn't have a private live over there and share it because it was a lie, right? She'd have had a private lie is what she would have had, because she don't have 17 pages. She don't have 23 pages. She don't have shit. And that's the truth. That's the truth, because that would be all sealed records. And trust me, they're not going to let somebody that somehow inside of a nursing home allegedly has a criminal record for taking medications that she wasn't supposed to be, her and her husband were not supposed to be getting from a nursing home, right? That's what I hear. Allegedly, her and her husband both, was obviously going or working at some nursing home, taking the medications that belong to the patients. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure, you're going to be able to walk in to private records and sealed records and say, oh, I want all this paperwork. I'm here. I'm Brookies and I just want this paperwork. They're going to be like, get the hell out of here. Right? You ain't getting nothing. I mean, it's hard for even an attorney or a prosecutor or a law enforcement agency to obtain those kind of documents. They sure in the hell ain't going to let them out to her. Come on.
About the
Yeah, you reconfirmed. You're like, yeah. I mean, you said it today. You're like, yeah, it's horrible.
It was horrible what they had them kids doing.
Mm-hmm.
So PG said, I'll put it up.
Yeah, beautiful. West Virginia Butterfly had no idea. You know, she thought Brooks was wanting to send it to her. She said, no, send it to PG. PG, you know, put it up. We ain't going to share the screen with you, Brooks. We ain't sharing no screen for you to do it. And then, you know, and here everybody's under the assumption that it's, you know, it's about the unsubstantiated charges, right? The substantiated charges. But she goes in left field with, no, it ain't about that. Oh yeah, absolutely I would. I don't think it exists. I don't think 17 pages of anything exists, just because I'll tell you why. Nobody can, and the only way they can get their hands on that would be through Candace Wells. And I don't think Candace is going to give anybody access to all that paperwork. I don't think she's going to actually let anyone. And Nana for Life said she hadn't.
I know exactly who she gave it to.
And Nana for Life, if she gave it to anybody, if she trusted anybody with that, it would have been Noelle, White Boy's old lady. And I don't see her giving it to her either. You know, I mean, I don't know. I can ask Donald and Candace if, you know, if they did give 17 pages of something to, matter of fact, I just called Don when I get off the live tonight and ask him and Candace, you know, did you guys give somebody 17 fucking pages of incriminating shit, against you to be looking at and viewing and spreading around out here in the YouTube world? Because yeah, right. I'm gonna tell you what, I already know the answer to that one, right? That was a metaphor right there, you know. That was a metaphor. Oh, sure, they're gonna say, oh yeah, PG, we sent all this paperwork incriminating the crap out of ourselves. I mean, come on. They was trying to hide that shit. They was trying to hide it. They had people trying to hide it for them, didn't they? They had a bunch of people trying to hide it for them. Oh my God. That's unbelievable. I think I want to hear no.
Guarantee it's not just one page with the boys' names on it saying essay. People in the corner. I guarantee it goes further than that.
Well, you hear that? Been Noelle, White Boy's old lady. And I don't see her giving it to her either. You know, I mean, I don't know. I can ask Donald and Candace if, you know, if they did give 17 pages of something to, matter of fact, I just called Don when I get off the live tonight and ask him and Candace, you know, did you guys give somebody 17 fucking pages of incriminating shit, against you to be looking at and viewing and spreading around out here in the YouTube world? Because I think I'm going to hear no.
Guarantee it's not just one page with the boys' names on it saying essay. People in the corner. I guarantee it goes further than that.
Well, you know, I don't think, you know, I think that was the only page that a few people got to see. And I think,
I know
I
Candace.
think the only one that had a screenshot of it was Shadow, who sent it to me, and Vicky.
Well, if you want to start Butterfly right now, and I mean, it's gonna blow your mind.
See, she said, if you want to share your screen right now, it's going to blow your mind. That's what she just said. Do you hear? Right there. That's what she just said it. You know, was Shadow who sent it to me, and Vicky.
Well, if you want to share your screen right now, and I mean, it's gonna blow your mind.
She's wanting to share it. She's been wanting, open your screen. Let me share all this stuff. Open your screen, PG. Let me share. I mean, really? I wasn't the one trying to share this stuff. She's the one wanting to share it. She's the one saying how, she has it, how horrible it is. And yet she's wanting to share it. Open your screen. I want to share it. I want to share it. When she don't even have it. She don't even have it. So what calculating, dirty low down plan did she have and to share what on my screen? Because it sure wasn't no paperwork that she did not have. I mean, she was up to some dirty, evil stuff that night. Want me to open my screen so she could get access to do something pretty fucking evil, if you ask me. And for who? And for who? Who? She wanted to be a distraction, and she also wanted to share something. So I would have to, to force me to take everything down so nobody could see it. So who was she, working for? I think the Wells. I think she was working for Don and Candace Wells. Now, I do know Tim Mullins asked his people to sign a contract, and allegedly he pays pretty good money for people who'll go around and do stuff to shut people down from putting out information, that's true about Don and Candace. Has she signed the papers? Has she signed up like Benny Keys did and Cam and Allie did and Ziggy did and Dee Dee did and Nana's Angel did and a whole lot of other people did? Probably even Nana for life because she's got it and didn't care to save other children with it as well. Right? And that contract plainly states that you're not allowed to talk about Summer. You do not have freedom of speech to talk about Summer any longer. There you go. So, if you sign a contract like that, who are you supporting? Because it sure ain't that little victim that you claim to be a voice for. Because you can't be a voice for her if you're signing contracts. Right? Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with me. You send me the 17 pages and I'll fucking blow everybody's mind right now. I'll put it in content and pull it up here right now. Right now. Send the pages through. Screenshot them, send them over to me. I'll put them in content and pull them the hell up.
No, I'll do a members live tomorrow and I'll put everything up. It's very
See, I'm going to have a members live tomorrow and I'm going to put everything up. She calls this exploited place and tries to turn PG into something that she started, that she had, that she wanted to put out on she claimed she wanted to put out on my screen, and she said she's going to open her own live and put it out on her live. So if this is stuff that exploits children, then what the hell she got it for? If it exploits children, why did she come out here and tell about it? If it exploits children, what is she even doing with it? She's the one that needed to be turned in. Because she's the one that's got this stuff in her, supposedly in her custody and running around trying to share it and trying to get other people in trouble with it. Right? That's exactly what the fuck she's doing. She needs to turn herself in.
Disrespectful to all of the children because it's
not disrespectful to them. Those children were victims. They were victims. They're still victims. You know, they won and she's putting shame on the kids. Do you hear? She's trying to put shame on these children who does not bear no shame. These kids bear no shame. They should not be ashamed of a damn thing. The ones that should be ashamed is the evil people who do stuff like that. The ones who should be ashamed is the people like her trying to protect the evildoers. The ones trying to put shame on children. The one that stands there and says, so who's the liar? The kids or Don and Candace? As if she's had charges put on her before and wanted some child to be called a liar. Right? Maybe she has. I don't know. But she sure wants to plant the seed that little children are liars so they won't be believed. The real predators is Don and Candace and Grandis.
Rena, I don't think
know it.
either.
That's my opinion. I will keep it. But I'm going to tell you something. Them kids are all victims. And this is no shame on them children, regardless of what that paperwork says. It's no shame on those kids. And those kids shouldn't be ashamed. They shouldn't be ashamed of, what these people did.
So what do you think about all the people that Candace has ascribed, I'm just going to say essay with a certain child? Sorry, I need to take a cough drop.
Well,
is all the children lying or is Candace?
No. See there? Is all the children lying? Or Candace? Oh my God. In my mind, that ain't even a fucking question. That many children are not lying.
Mhm.
That many children can't be lying.
And you heard Virginia Butterfly that said, yeah, it is 17 pages. On your panel tonight.
I don't think she understood that there was more paperwork, other than the one paper. I think she thought that you were talking about,
No, she's seen it. I guarantee she's seen it.
To be honest with you, I don't think she did, because I don't think it really exists. Until I see it, I can't believe it. There you go. There you go. She kept wanting to put words in Butterfly's mouth that wasn't ever there. Wasn't even there. This is Brooks. This is Brooks. Whatever. And she came out in her live. As soon as she opened her live up, she was attacking my baby. She was attacking little man. Put a 1 in the chat if you saw that. Right at the beginning. She comes in there going after an innocent child. How disgusting was that? How disgusting was that? That was unbelievable. That was unacceptable. That was totally unacceptable. Oh, yes, she did. Yes, she did. As soon as she opened that live, she went after my child. Yes, she did. Absolutely went after my baby. Even played Benny Keys talking about my baby. Yes, she did. Yeah, she absolutely did. Yeah. Um, yeah, Butterfly did not say she had 17 pages. Absolutely, she didn't. Yeah. You know, like Ziggy, right? Like Ziggy, like Benny. It's like, uh, can you pinch your baby so we can hear it cry? I mean, can you go wake it up and, you know, and pinch it so everybody can hear it? Right? No, I can't. And I wouldn't. My child is sleeping in its nursery. It is sleeping. It's resting. You know how long it takes to get your child used to sleeping for, 4 or 5 hours so you can actually have a little time to do something else. Um, it takes a long time. It takes a long time. Do you remember? When I first let people hear Little Man and people, were actually leaving because the baby was, was making a lot of noise and stuff, and I was having to pay, most of my attention to Ed instead of the chat, instead of what I was doing. And it was kind of, getting in the way of us being able to run this channel. Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know something? Did you notice that I wasn't here a lot? Because I needed to tend to Little Man. I mean, you know, I couldn't be here because I need to be with my child and taking care of my child. So I wasn't out here. I had to pick and choose because people don't want, they don't want to hear you babysitting your baby when they're wanting to hear about Summer's case and they're wanting to hear about other things, you know. And they're not in, this ain't a babysitting channel. This isn't a goo goo gaga channel. This is a true crime, missing children, you know. And I was very patient. I chose to take care of my child and stay away from here and do what needed to be done like any mother would do. And I came here, if I was able to get help, my sister or, somebody to help with Little Man, then I would run in here for a little while, talk about something, and then, but I had to leave. I wasn't staying in here as long as I do right now because Little Man wasn't sleeping, the 4 to 5 hours. Like I was lucky if he slept 2 hours, he's back up. 2 more, he's back up. I was walking around with my hair sticking up and bloodshot eyes. I wasn't getting no rest. And I was still trying to do what I could do out here for Summer. I was still posting as much as I could for Summer, for other missing kids and about their cases. I didn't give up. I didn't give up on these missing children. But I did have to take time, And then they want to call and then they want to act like my baby's fake because I'm not pinching it in the middle of the night so their sick-minded selves can hear it. That's weird. That's just creepy weird. I'm going to tell you something. West Virginia Butterfly talks to me a few times a day. There's other people that talk to me. And they hear little man in the background. Unless he's napping, they hear him. Trust me, they hear him. He was real fussing. Today. I don't know if he's starting to cut teeth. I don't know, what it is. Because, he was all bathed up, dry diaper, fed good formula. Oh, and that's another thing. Brooks had the nerve to be thinking about PG's tatas. She wanted to think about my baby and think about my tatas. How many times have I told people out here, formula is very expensive. Baby formula costs a fortune. I can't believe how much baby formula cost. I think the doctor put my baby on the most expensive one. I've said it a lot of times. And she's wanting to think about somebody's tatas. And my baby, stop it. Just stop it. That's sick. That's sick. That's what I'm talking about. This is the stuff you have to put up with. When you've got these people, running around with a vengeance because they're jealous as hell, envious as hell, and hating on you for no fucking reason. It's just disgusting. Well, I'm sorry, Brooks, that your backside ain't young enough to have a baby. You got to be a grandma, but get off my ass. And leave my baby out of your mouth. Leave an innocent child out of your mouth. Ain't we supposed to be protecting innocent children, not talking about them, not using them? To go after other people with? That's disgusting. I wouldn't ever do anything like that with your granddaughter. Keep your mouth off my baby. You're disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. You appall me. For real. And stop thinking about my tatas. That's just disgusting as well. Who in the hell goes around thinking about another woman's tatas? That's sick. Yeah. She's like freaking Day Day. Day Day used to have an obsession. Day Day used to have an obsession with PG's tatas. Oh, I'll pay if somebody can get a picture of PG's tatas. Who in the hell does that? Wow. I'm going to tell you something. If them bitches got a picture of PG 60 fucking ass, they'd probably pass out. For real. For real. My beauty would actually stun them bitches. And their men would be tripping over them to look at that picture. So they better hope it don't ever come out. Right? They need to just stop it. They're gross. They're gross. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But, and I'm gonna just, I have my say. I have my say. She needs to keep my innocent child out of her mouth. Benny Keys does too. All of them do. My baby isn't nobody's business. That child is innocent. He is a beautiful, innocent little boy that no one should be doing what they're doing and talking about my baby the way they are. That's disgusting. And yes, does it upset me? Yes, it does. I mean, I think it would upset anybody if they were talking about your child like that, or even your grandchild or your great-grandchild. It doesn't matter. If they're talking about any child in your family that you love, you wouldn't like it. You would not like it. And yes, it is, Stephanie. It's all because they're jealous. They're jealous. They wanted to think that, they wanted to put out here that PG was some old hag, some old freaking granny clampet. They wanted to make me look old and decrepit and all these things. And then when they had to face hearing my baby and understanding that I'm still young, it just fucking added the fuel to the hatred and envy and everything they already had. They was building people to believe what they wanted me to be, not what I am. And I could laugh about it because I know who and what I am. I could laugh about all their bullshit. If you want to come at me, great, come at me. But leave my child the hell out of it. Just leave my baby alone. That ain't even cool, especially in a true crime community where you talk about missing children. You're supposed to be a voice for the voiceless. You're supposed to be protecting all children in this world, and you're talking about other people's babies? You're disgusting. You don't belong here. You don't belong here. You ain't for any child if you can attack someone's innocent little boy. Little man ain't done nothing to nobody. He don't deserve that. That little guy's asleep right now, man, dreaming of angels in heaven kissing him. How could they talk about him like that? How could they even bother to make him their business? It's just wrong. It's just wrong, and I won't tolerate that. I will not tolerate that. I tell you that right now. Yeah, absolutely second to none. They should be ashamed. Absolutely ashamed. But she came right out of the gate, attacking my innocent little boy. That was unbelievable. Oh, and I wanted to tell you, she also sent Pam. The reason Pam was up on her panel, she sent Pam a message. Pam sent them to me. Pam Tate sent me the messages that that Brooke sent her. Brooke sent Pam messages talking about how she sees how PG treats Pam so disrespectfully, and now is Pam treating PG disrespectfully. Pam treated me disrespectfully more times than I can count, and I still forgave her. I still allowed her to come around. I still was good to her. Even though she talked crap about me behind my back to Lisa J and Lisa J's other little friend who recorded it and sent it to me. Some violent stuff too. Some violent stuff. I didn't play it out here. I threw it behind my back, and I let Pam, and I forgave her and let her come back around. She's turned on me so many times. I don't even, she goes other places and talks violent about me. It ain't the first time. And I kept forgiving her and forgiving her and forgiving her. And she gets a message from Crime Lines and Lies, Brooks, talking about how PG treats you bad and giving Pam a pity party, and Pam goes right up on her panel because she asked her to. And Pam, as soon as she sends me the messages and I'm reading them, she deletes them real quick because she doesn't want to get in trouble with Crime Lines and Lies. So I outwitted her. Let me tell you what I did to her. And I'm going to put it out too. I'm going to put it out because I want everyone to see it. I want everyone to see. Pamela Tate. Let me tell you what I done to her. I told her, Pam, hold on just 1 minute, because I don't like to tell people, something that, because I do have it. Oh, right here it is. Right here it is. I says, I know Brooks used you. I seen the message before you deleted it. I'm sorry that happened to you. And she gives me a big thumbs up, and then she deletes the damn thumbs up as fast as she gives it to me, but I got it. I got the big thumbs up, and then I screenshot it where she deleted the thumbs up because she didn't want to get in trouble with Brooksy. But she was telling me, yeah, that's the truth. And I'm posting it up. I'm posting it up over on Facebook so everybody can see it. Absolutely. I think everybody has a right to, I would have put it in content and brought it here tonight. It slipped my mind, but, yeah, absolutely. Brooks went, and, that's what Brooks has to do. She has to go behind the scenes and try to get people, like that Angel P. That Angel P didn't ever see 17 pages or 23 pages or any pages of anything, in my opinion. And you know what? When she said she did, she's going to have to be, because Pam called, or be due to the fact that, that Brooks called law enforcement and put in, a false accusations, which you cannot do, a false report. Then that April P isn't doing nothing but incriminating herself because I screenshot it where she said she did, and she would, and she would be incriminated too if Brooks can't produce that 17 pages to law enforcement, that she called in and lied about. April P doesn't understand. She just incriminated herself too. And she would be in just as much trouble as Brooks for, backing a liar like that. You should not back liars. You should not let other people incriminate you and pull you into their freaking web of evilness. April P needs to think for herself instead of wanting to be needing a friend. You don't need a friend. Nobody needs a friend so much that they let that friend get them in trouble. No one should let anyone, they're not your friend. If they're trying to get you to go along with lies and they're trying to get you to go along with evilness, they are not your friend. Because a real friend would be worried about your soul. They would be worried about your soul hitting hell wide open. They would be worried about having you do stuff, not against humans, but against God Almighty. They would want to see you in heaven, not hell. And they wouldn't ever ask you to do anything that would make God upset with you. That's just my opinion. I'll keep it. True friends don't ask people to do evilness. They don't do it because they want to see you stay safe, and they want to see you, achieve in life, not get in trouble, not have a bunch of problems in the future because of them. They're not a true friend. Brooks don't know how to be a friend to anyone, and she misled Pam, but Pam's a grown woman and shouldn't have let anyone mislead her. And yes, I defriended Pam on Facebook. I don't want her on there. I don't want her calling me ever again. I don't want nothing to do with her. Pam has, turned on me too many times. And then the people she turns on me for treats her really ugly. They treat her really bad because, you got to be a certain type of person to put up with Pam. You got to be a very patient, very kind, very caring human being to put up with Pam, because Pam goes off and gets herself in trouble after she talks about you and be real mean to you. She'll go off and get herself in trouble, and then she'll be calling you. She'll call you up 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and she'll want to tell you all about so-and-so, or she'll call you 2 o'clock in the day because somebody's talking about her, somebody that she, was all affiliated with and thought they were her friend. All of a sudden, they used her, they abused her, and they got rid of her. And then she comes running back and she needs somebody to talk to, and she needs somebody to, to console her and to help her get mentally process what happened to her, get her back in a happy mood, get her out of that funk depression because she thinks about, doing stuff that people should not think about doing. And I'm tired. I'm tired of being, she's using and abusing PG. She's taken advantage of my kindness, my caring, my patience. She's taken advantage of my real friendship, and I'm done with her. I'm done with her. I will not ever, any way, form, or how, have anything else to do with Pam. And if Pam Tate comes in here, she will not come on the panel. She will not be in the chat. She comes in this chat, she will immediately be blocked. She will immediately. My mods see her in here, and my mods will block her so fast, it'll look like the Wild Wild West in here. She will not be allowed over in this channel ever again. I don't even want to think about Pam ever again in my life. She is a distant memory, and I'm going to leave it in a rearview mirror. I'm done with her. she has issues from now on, she can call Brooks. She can wake Brooks up at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. She can call Brooks 5 times a day in the middle of the day. I'm doing my job, and half the time I'm texting Pam because she's having a meltdown. And I'm trying to get her out of her funk. Well, I've got a job to do myself that pays my bills. I'm done with it. When she went and she fucked up. She fucked around. Now she's going to find out she's not allowed over here anymore. And she's blocked from the Facebook. And I want nothing to do with her. And I will not change my mind this time. Because I truly believe I've reached a quota. I think I've reached the quota that the Bible says that you should forgive somebody. Right? I think I've reached that quota. Amen. Absolutely. Yeehaw. Right? Or as Brooks would say, woo! And I'm going to tell you something. I could see Brooks was getting frustrated with Pam when she was up there, right? When she was up there and she had to go off to go do her cry and then come back and go off and do her cry. I'm all right. Getting it, let me get some attention. And Brooks don't baby her. Brooks don't baby her. Brooks didn't even take up for her. Brooks didn't do nothing. She's like, oh, Pam went off to cry. She'll be back. Don't worry. She'll, hell with her. She'll get over it. She better just put on her big girl bloomers and get past it. She doesn't care. She doesn't care what Pam's mental state is. She doesn't care, if Pam wasn't here tomorrow, Brooks wouldn't give a damn. Because Brooks, was just out to use and abuse anyway. She doesn't care. She's not going to answer that phone, all night for Pam. She's going to tell Pam, stop bugging me. I ain't got time like this for you. She's going to ignore her ass. I know what she's going to do. Because she does not care about Pam's problems or her mental capacity or, everything going on with Pam. And what Pam is possibly capable of doing, to herself. She don't care. Well, I cared. And look where that got me. Look where that got me, right? I cared. And all I got was, somebody that did nothing but, take full advantage of a friendship because they didn't know how to be a friend either. Brooks and Pam, they'll be great together. I'll tell you why, because neither one of them know how to be a friend. Neither one of them. They do not how, being a real friend is treating people the way you want them to treat you. It's basically what the Bible says. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Don't do unto them what they do. The Bible don't say, oh, do unto them as they do to you. It says, do unto them as you would have them do to you. Right? And that's what being a real friend is. It's treating people with the utmost kindness, love, caring, and respect. It's truly caring about somebody. It's not what they do. It's not about using and abusing people. Because you can. And that's what Brooks and Pam do. They're like the whales up there. They use and abuse people because they can. and you just fall victim to them. You just become a victim to them. And I'm not going to be victimized no more. I'm done with it. Absolutely. I'm going to tell you, they say if you go out of this world with just one friend, real friend, at your funeral, you was richer than anybody else in the world. You was rich, truly rich. If you just had one person that loved you as much as you loved them. No strings attached. No strings attached. They're not your child. They're not your husband. They're not anything. They're not your family at all. They're just a friend. No strings attached. But they cared as much about you as you cared about them. They didn't show up to see and be seen. They didn't show up to hear the whispers and the gossip. They didn't show up out of feeling that, they were obligated. They showed up because they truly cared. They wept because they truly lost a friend. Right, Ivy's mom? He said, well, I'm out. I'm going to tell you, girl, you wouldn't be effed if I was your friend. Because I truly care about people. I do. And sometimes I think, that's, my downfall. Is I care too much about people. And I'm always getting used. I'm always getting abused, I'm always talking to God. I'm always asking why. Why can't people treat you good? Why does people have to be like this, Lord? I don't know. I guess it's because, because God gave everybody choice. He gave people choice. They could choose to be like me and truly care about people, really freaking care, and get hurt all the time, right? Get hurt all the time like you're inhuman. People think you're inhuman, that you don't have no feelings because everybody fucks you over and it don't seem to phase you. You're still there for them. Or you could be like them. You got the choice to be like them. And you'd be surprised how many people choose to be like them. Choose to mess you over and expect you to still be there so they can mess you over even more. It's unbelievable. They're all take, no give. You start to talk. You want to know, do you want to know how you know a true friend? Is start talking to them about your problems. And if they take off that fast, no, Pam, it's fuck you. And you know what? I'm glad you came in because you personally let me give you a steel-toe boot in your ass. You personally came in here and let me give you what I was hoping to get the chance to do. And that's to give you the steel-toe boot right into PG hell. And there you are where you will sit for eternity. Now you can take that two-faced ass and go over to Brooke's channel and see if she'll put up with all your psychotic shit. Because I don't think she will. Okay? See, you wouldn't want to be ya, Felicia. Bye. Right, Miss Justice? Absolutely, girl. I'm glad you agree with me. Yeah, we do, Chili Pepper. We do. We question God, you know. Sometimes, sometimes I go to places where, you know, I could almost see Jesus just sitting there. It's a place that, I just feel that he would be. And it brings comfort. It brings a lot of comfort, and it allows me to, get past all the, all the stuff that people, put on you that you don't deserve. You don't deserve it. You done nothing to them. You don't understand why they do what they do. Why they say what they say, why they act the way they act. It's sad. I had a lot, of stuff. I mean, I got a lot of stuff that I could bring out here. Give people real insight on Pam. A real insight into who and what Pam is. The real Pam behind the scenes. The real person. But I'm not. I don't do that. Oh, I want it to. Don't get me wrong. My flesh was getting to me. But I got to try to hold into the spirit, right? I got to hold on to the better person. I got to hold on to what God gave me, the strength and the courage to stay the bigger person than these people are. To not let myself fall in to being, fall into their evilness and make them do, make them make me do what I don't want to do. I haven't ever wanted to bring out, the stuff that Pam, the ugliness of Pam. I haven't ever wanted to do that. And she's a very bad person. She's a very, very bad person. But I was hoping, I got this thing where I think I can change people. Put a 1 in the chat if you've got that problem, where you think you can make people be a better person, where you think in time you can change them. You can, you can help them be better. I got that problem. I've always had that problem where, I think if I just don't give up, I'd be able to make them into a good person. Well, I ain't no way I can make Pam into a good person. There's very few people like me in the world. Very few people in this world. I'm telling you, you're a diamond in the rough. You are actually a blessing on the face of this earth if you care more about other people than you care about yourself. You're a blessing on the face of this earth if you're willing to go that extra mile for people that won't, that won't take 2 steps for you. You're a special person if, if no matter how people treat you, you don't care. You're still sticking with God. You're still holding the hand of Jesus Christ, and you're still going to do good. You're not going to let them keep you from helping anyone, even them. You're not going to, you're not going to stop until you absolutely have to. And, and that's where I was with Pam. I come to the point I absolutely have to stop because I can't change her. I see that she cannot be changed. It's time to knock the dust off of my feet, turn around and go away. like I said, she met the quota. That forgiveness, and still, I still forgive her. I forgive her. I just ain't gonna have nothing else to do with her. I don't, I don't want to, I don't want to get even. I don't want to get even. I like that term. I don't get mad, I get even. I love that term. But that's my flesh, not my spirit. Right? My spirit says, no, you might like that term, but it's not what you need to be doing. You need to be doing God's will, not your flesh's will. You need to do God's will, forgive Pam, forget she existed, and move on. Don't let her be another thought to you. That's what I plan to do. She will not ever be another thought to me. She ain't the first person I was forced to put out of my life. I don't like to be forced to put people I love and I cared about out of my life. But I know that my life will be better without her in it. Right? She was a real burden. She was a real burden that, I probably should lay down a long time ago. Just saying. Yeah, exactly. I used to be like that, and I learned I trust my instincts, right? I'm going to tell you, you got to put all that negative stuff out of your life, because you can't keep it's heavy enough to carry your own cross. You can't be carrying other people's burdens as well, right? Especially people that don't appreciate it. Here I am packing Pam's burdens, and and she goes to 50 different channels talking bad about me, talking bad, behind the scenes about me and everything else, and people's recording it, sending it back to me. You know what it's like to think someone is your friend, you forgave them a ton of times, that you don't think they would, you don't think they would ever turn on you again. They're going to have your back this time. You're going to have their back. And then they go off and say violent stuff about you that you actually are listening to because someone recorded it. I mean, it's not hearsay. You're actually hearing it with your own ears. I mean, that's mentally disturbing. And you've been packing this person's load, and now you're packing this. How they spoke about you. You wouldn't have believed it if you hadn't heard it. It'd have been easier if you wouldn't have heard it. Because when you hear something, you got to face it. And then, you're packing this person's load, and you have to face the fact that they just hated all on you and said horrible things about you. And, now it's a double load, right? It's a double load. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. But that's how people are. That's how humans are. Evil humans like Pam, Wells, freaking Brooks, Benny Keys. I really appreciate Benny Keys. I appreciate Ernie and Benny Keys. Really helped me. They really helped me. They helped me to understand what true evil is. They helped me to understand they opened my eyes. They opened my eyes up, you know, to a question I had for a long time. A question I, had been pondering about for a long time. And God put them in the way to answer that question for me. And I knew it. I knew it that God used them for the instruments to answer the question I had been pondering on for quite a while. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. You know, they helped a lot. They helped a lot. Absolutely. They brought me clarity. They brought me clarity, which, I won't I won't ever forget, because it helped my life so much, when I was struggling with something that I just really wanted the answer to. They gave it to me. Opened my eyes. Made my life better. Made my life better. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that for sure. Prayers for Summer Moon, her brothers. May God bless them always. Absolutely. Absolutely. But you guys heard it tonight. I wish I could have got to more things, but tomorrow, I'm bringing, tomorrow, we're not talking about none of this. Tomorrow, we are talking about Summer Moon, Utah Wells. We're going to be talking about some very important things that I've been researching, I've been looking into. And they all correlate. They correlate together. And it's like, what the hell? What the hell? But I'm bringing it to the table because I really do think that, it'll help Summer's case. It'll open eyes. It will, allow us to understand more of the timeline after 3:30, not before. We got the timeline before, but this, I believe, will truly help after 3:30. I would talk more about it tonight, but you know how it is. We're everybody else's content. And you can't talk about stuff because they'll be on there trying to talk about it before you do. And it wasn't even theirs. They didn't do a lick of the research. They didn't do anything to bring it to the table, but they want to steal it, right? They're not only liars, they're thieves. They're thieves. Like, Brooks wouldn't have no content if it wasn't for us the last few days, right? On her first or second channel. She wouldn't have had none. Why, if you're out here, truly out here for missing children, if you are truly out here, to be a voice for the voiceless, if you're truly out here to be out here for these missing children, why the hell you need 2 channels? Why don't you just have one? I mean, you could do everything you need to do on your one channel. Why you gotta have 2? I'm going to tell you, when you have 2, you're out here for the money, not for the children. That's my opinion. I'll keep it. Right. I heard that, Italian Cookie. I heard that. Hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Dave. Absolutely. Oh, wow. Look at this. I appreciate that too. Thank you, PG. We appreciate all you do. Hey, our bucket list has holes. I appreciate you guys too. And I appreciate your prayers going up. You're always praying for PG, girl. Don't think I don't know it. And I sure appreciate it. I'll be praying for you. I'll be praying for you too. God bless you. Oh, members for 51 months. Summer strong. Summer strong. Summer's Army strong, girl. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I appreciate you being a voice for the voiceless out here. And you know, you guys are a voice for all these missing kids, not just Summer, but you're a voice for all of them. And I know that because we cover different cases and you guys are always here, always, always standing up for these missing kids. Always, you know, diligently doing everything you can to help them, you know, and I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed with you guys. God bless you. Absolutely. Oh, wow. Abigail Rose. I appreciate that. I'm so sorry you were hurt like that, PG. I think you have a great channel that is so needed in this case. You deserve better. God bless you and little man. Hey, I appreciate that. God bless Summer Moon, Utah Wells. Praying for you and chat and Summer. Hey, I appreciate everything there. Especially God bless Summer. God bless her. Wherever that baby is, and I believe she's in heaven. I believe she's up there right now looking down. God bless her. Absolutely. And we will not give up. We will not give up until this little girl's found. We will not give up. And I think the new sheriff's going to get it done. I'm sure praying. I'm banking on it. I hope to God he gets it done. Absolutely. But I so appreciate you supporting the channel. And I even more so supporting little Summer. Amen. God bless. Yeah, Brooks is. She's up to no good. She's always up to no good. And you know, tonight we just gave her more content for tomorrow. And but I'm done with it. I'm done with it. You know, I'm done with all this. I ain't got time for it. We've got missing kids out here. We got Summer. We've got Michael Vaughn. We got Sebastian Rogers, Jack and Lily, Emmanuel, Genesis. We've got Nancy. We've got all of these people missing out here. And we need to be focusing on that and getting them found, brought home, justice served. We need to be keeping them in the spotlight, not Brooks, not Pam's, not anybody else. We need to keep them in the spotlight, and that's what we're going to do. And this, you know, this is done. As far as I'm concerned, it's done. You know, Brooks can get up tomorrow and call more people if she wants to. I don't give a damn. But I won't give her another second of these children's time. I've spent too much time with this bullshit. So we will be moving forward, and we will be definitely helping these other children out here instead of wasting time with bullshit. And that's exactly what those evil people out there are. They're pure shit. And I ain't got time for it. But I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate that you know, that you're always here. God don't put your feet anywhere that you ain't supposed to be. So he put your feet here. That's where they're supposed to be. And I thank God for that. I thank him for allowing everybody's feet that are in here tonight. I pray God blesses you. I really do. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. Keep those prayers going up for Summer. Please keep them going up for Summer, because I know God listens. And I know through his son, Jesus Christ, prayers are answered. I'm a full believer in it because I've seen all kinds of prayers answered. And I know God always answers my prayers. And I know he answers yours. So let us keep praying that this little girl is found. Let us pray that Michael gets found, Sebastian gets found, Emmanuel gets found, Genesis gets found, Nancy gets found, and any other missing children out there. Let's pray they all get found, brought home, justice served, but most of all, let us pray that no more children end up like this. No more older people end up like Nancy. Let us pray for those people out there needing protection. Let us pray they're protected in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. I hope they get the help sooner instead of later that they need to keep from being missing. That's what I pray too. Keep those prayers going up, you guys, and pray for one another. There's a lot of people in here tonight needing prayer. I don't know exactly who they are, but I do feel that there's a few people praying and they're hoping other people are praying for them. Somebody in here really is needing some prayer. How do you know, PG? I don't know how I know. I just do. But there is somebody in here really needing some prayer. And know what? I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you. And I hope everybody else joins in and prays as well. Family that prays together stays together. God bless you guys. Good night. Much, much love.